rather late evening actually. First of all, I would like to thank the ophthalmologists here, and especially Dr. Gopal Gupta for organizing this, and the Alcon, which of course has been done all the major work and running around for organizing this conference. This is a bit of a non-clinical talk, a break between the two clinical talks before and after. I'm sure you can identify with it. Dr. Gopal Gupta had said something like, welcome to the small town. We are also from a similarly small town, so the problems we face are similar, and I hope you will identify with whatever I'm saying. So when we say changing face of medical practice or ophthalmic practice, this, as you all know, is the father of medicine, or Hippocrates. And this could be anyone. It could be you or me, or it could be no one else in this audience, but sadly this is the image that doctors have today, and this is what we have to remember before we start talking about the changing face of practice in today's world. So we all know a few things, that these changes are coming around because the society around us has changed. We are today an increasingly assertive, democratic public. Earlier, patients used to have blind faith in doctors. They used to accept whatever was their destiny or whatever the doctor used to tell them. Today, everybody is very critical. We are a demanding lot. We have very high expectations from the doctors, from everybody else. And what was once considered to be a luxury, like 10 years ago, is now a necessity and is changing very fast. So when the society changes, everything changes, and the medical profession has also changed. And it is not just medicine. All professions today are very demanding, very competitive, and especially in the customer care oriented jobs, and we at the end of the day are a customer care job. There is a growing and aggressive consumerism which affects all of us. So earlier doctors used to be considered God. Nobody used to challenge their knowledge, nobody used to challenge their opinions. So today we are all service providers, except that we don't still pay service tax. Medical profession is also a service industry like a hotel industry, and is becoming increasingly so with every passing year. And there are lots of demands of doctors today. You have to be an excellent doctor, you have to know your staff, you have to know your clinical knowledge, surgical knowledge, you have to have very high quality, because the expectations in terms of surgical results are very high. And because the technology is changing very fast and the knowledge is changing very fast, you're supposed to know more, do more, be more, just constantly more and more, with more technology, more upgraded technology. And on top of all this, there is a daily threat of complaints or litigation, or in our scenario, variations of litigation like tort for, etc., because people don't really have trust in court, so they do their own justice. But most of all, what was earlier a sacred relationship between the doctor and the patient today is a multifactorial thing. And you have these whole lot of actors who come into play. There are corporate houses, there are insurance companies, third-party administrators, advertising, marketing executives, image makeovers, pharma giants. Of course, they help us, but they also have problems. And in the face of all these people, this is how doctors sometimes feel that they're all alone. There are all these sharks out to have their own share. But if we make success, if we make best use of whatever we do have, whatever is available to us, then we would be something like this person who's using this unused shoes to plant trees. So we must remember what Charles Darwin said, that it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And we as doctors have to respond to the changes that are happening around us, and we cannot get away from that in any way. And we can't just keep on this blaming mentality that everybody around us is changing. We are also changing. Even doctors today have different expectations. Our lifestyle aspirations are very different from what the kind of lifestyle aspirations the doctors had 20 years ago. Doctors, there is a lot of entrepreneurship happening all around. Somehow the medical profession has lacked in its entrepreneurship. We may have excelled a lot in our improving our knowledge, improving our technology, and improving our surgery, but something that is called entrepreneurship, which is needed when you do something like a business, is lagging in the medical profession. Then the doctor has to be a good team leader, because today with so many players in the market, you have to have a lot of staff who can deal with insurance companies, who can deal with the paperwork, who can make your bills, who can settle your dealing with the equipment companies. And you have to negotiate with the other players in the market, that is with the pharma companies, with the industries that are giving you the equipments, and the insurance companies, etc. And you have to have a good image. We just cannot deny that the medical profession image has suffered, and it is now up to us to try and improve this image. So a doctor has to be innovative in both the business and the clinical aspect of medicine, and we can't shy away from this. A and also learn a bit of financial management. So when it comes to practice management, we have to go much beyond just simple clinical care which was expected out of us till a few years ago. This was a US survey, and even there only 12% of the respondents felt that their postgraduate residency training had helped them adequately to be prepared for their practice administration. For example, if a gathering like this here, we're all ophthalmologists, if we are asked if you've ever heard a lecture on a topic like say pheochromocytomas, I'm sure the answer would be 100% yes, we've all heard about it, even though the incidence of tumor, this particular tumor, is approximately 5 per million population per year, and most of us will spend our lifetime not seeing a single case. But if the same gathering is asked if we have ever heard a lecture on efficiency or on practice management or on all so many other issues, medical legal issues and other issues that we have to deal with today, then the answer would be debatable. So what are the repercussions for doctors? We have to create unprecedented value for customers today. We have to know that they're getting value for what money that they're spending, because the money that they're spending is quite a lot. And we have to develop key competencies to get the edge. We can't just have a so-so practice for everything. We have to develop some competency in some key area to get that edge. And the ambience of the kind of practice that we have is very important in terms of the staff we have and the other facilities that we provide. Then we have to learn to avoid problems. We know that the society around us is very volatile, people are easily provoked, there are many vested interest groups there, chutput netas in every city, and demanding patients who can aggravate your problems. So remember that we have to essentially ingrain an art of tackling humans. And in the sick room somebody said, 10 cents worth of human understanding equals $10 worth of medical science. Because we have to remember that we are not dealing with just normal people, we are dealing with people who are, and most in other professions, thankfully not so much in eye, that we are dealing with human beings who are in some extreme moments of fear. Everybody is scared of surgery, everybody is very anxious, they have a lot of doubts. So they will not be at their best behavior. They may behave irrationally at that particular time, and this is something we have to remember. So don't let the things go so far. For example, this could be the doctor and this the patient, or this could be the patient and this the doctor, depending on your point of view. But don't allow things to go beyond a certain point. For example, patients saying you're paid to do so. There are no patients here, so there's no point saying all this. But say for example, sometimes doctors say, okay, pay the hospital's bill before you take the dead body, or doctors are busy and just keep waiting. So it is a big challenge for all of us to remain calm when we face provocations like these. And it is a good idea to try and just somehow practice the art of remaining calm when we are provoked, so that things can blow over, and then when the patient is more rational, maybe we can have a better communication with the patient. Medical legal issues are sadly a very real emerging threat. But even more sad is the fact that in India, it is not medical legal cases that we are scared of. We are scared of the people bypassing the legal process, because that happens much later. Even before the patient goes to court, he has actually thrown stones at the window panes, at the glass doors. There has been violence, there is adverse media publicity, everybody is ready to publish in the newspapers, and your defamation has already been done. So whether the case ultimately goes to the court or doesn't matter, because the justice has already been done by the patient as in his own. As the doctor is a team leader, the quality of supporting staff is becoming increasingly important. Those days are gone when the doctor could sit all alone with his ophthalmoscope or with his stethoscope and practice all by himself. Today you need a lot of support staff, you need OT staff, you need reception staff, you need assistants, you need counselors, you need so many people, and you have to invest in such good quality staff. People who can settle your insurance papers, do paperwork, explain the patients, give them lengthy explanations. Doctors have somehow been trained to take responsibility, but now is the time that we must learn to delegate whatever we can, so that the long explanations that are demanded can be handled by other people like counselors and all in our clinics, and invest in these people. And then in India, the peculiar problem is we have to deal with diverse expectations. This is the kind of facility that many people demand today, but we must remember that the majority of our patients will belong to this particular strata, so we have to deal with both of them. Then is the issue of medical costs and the hidden costs that are often not seen by the patient. The society demands very high quality medical care and deals 5-star facilities. So the major costs today are not medical care or equipment, but land, rentals, and providing other amenities, etc. So the costs are going up, but the challenge is to remain transparent. If you can be very real in towns like ours is that economic growth in India is really happening in the smaller cities and towns, and we can see it every day. There is a financial boom, there is a lot of prosperity that is coming in small cities, so these small city practices are becoming more and more viable, and you can have a good practice, a financially sound practice even in a small city today. Even the big companies like mobiles and all are now targeting smaller cities, and corporate hospitals which are opening up in the small cities now can never be a threat to an efficiently run small unit in Indian cities. Then we come to the role of industry with so much technology coming to opinion, because somehow it is extending in a direction from just sponsoring to shaping opinions. Industry now shapes its own opinions and opinion leaders, and there's too much push for new technology, so we have to be careful where we follow those opinions and take the right advice. And then there are some peculiar Indian things which will always remain. Whatever modernity we achieve, there will be tradition mixed with modernity, and there will be lots of bargaining in the Indian patients, which is a fine art of our Indians, and we have to learn to deal with it. But at the same time, we get lots of opportunity for mass publicity in terms of these fairs and festivals. So to conclude, in today's practice, we have to give renewed emphasis to the enduring qualities of medical profession that will never change, and that is to cure where possible. If we can't cure, then care for the patient, and if nothing else, at least communicate to the patient in sympathetic, clear terms as to what is his problem and what is his prognosis. Competence and compassion, again, are enduring qualities, old qualities which we must renew, but at the same time, discard outdated attitudes of the physicians or the doctors and bring in new aspects in your practice that recognize the extended responsibilities of doctors. So, we have to strike a balance between the art of medicine, that is dealing with the patients and talking to them and communication, etc., and the science technology of medicine, which is rapidly changing, but at the same time also deal with the business of medicine, and hopefully with imagination, ingenuity and a bit of luck on our side, we will still be able to practice good medicine in the changing society. Thank you.